Well, good day, everyone. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good night. We're out of here, but oh no. Today we have a fun one for you, and on top of that, hold on. It's another Toyota.
Yeah.
So it seems like lately we've been doing a lot of Toyotas. Apparently Jeeps and F-150s are expanding out a little bit, which kind of is nice because it's nice to get away from those two vehicles.
Yeah, and get the third one, Toyota.
That's right. Yay! So we have a 2018 Toyota
Tacoma.
And what we're gonna do with it today is what I like to call old school. Not really. I just like to call it a nice basic upgrade. And when I say old school is because we used to do a lot of these. You'd come in, you'd be like, my car sounds like crap. And what would you do?
You change speakers.
We got this guy in. We're just gonna do a speaker swap. A good old fashioned speaker swap. Let's get to it. Now, even though we're just gonna do some speakers, which I'm gonna show you right over here. Ooh, Phoenix Gold MX, the new ones, yay. Even though we're just gonna do a basic speaker upgrade, we're still gonna make sure that they have a fighting chance to sound the best that they can. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're gonna be doing. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add some fast strings. For those of you that have no idea what a fast string is, they put a convenient picture here on the back of the bag. And what they're basically showing you is, we'll elaborate more once we get the speaker out, but your factory speaker is mounted in some kind of plastic shape. And then there's some foam on it. And that foam allows it to marriage up with the door panel and force all that beautiful sound coming from the speaker. That's this piece here. So when the speaker gets mounted, it forces all the sound out over the door panel. Now, they also have the acoustic plug, which is this thing here to help reduce vibration. And then they have another focusing ring here, make all the sound come out of the back of the speaker and get absorbed into this little piece of foam here. Now, once we get the speakers out, we'll show you what we're talking about, more hands-on. But we have a 6x9, we have a 6.5. So then we have the new Stinger X sound dampening speaker kit. Let me open it and show you what comes in. So inside you get two pieces of sound treatment. These are just designed to go right up around the speaker where we're gonna mount it. This is not doing the full baked potato, but it's still gonna absorb and stiffen up that right around the speaker area to help improve the sound. And of course now you're asking, well, what kind of sound are we gonna have? These guys, over these. So let's take a look at those. So what we're gonna use in this are the brand new Phoenix Gold MX series coaxials. So we have a 6x9 for the front door, then we have this 6.5 for the rear door. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox these and we can, well, touchy-feely them. Now inside the box, they do still come with grills if you need those, as well as the speaker itself. Something unique about these is it has the center point technology tweeter, concentric, but they put a grill over the tweeter, which is really cool because now you don't have to worry about it getting damaged or anything like that. They have the crossover mounted on the back. And they're 2 3/8 inches deep. Now the tweeter is a 25mm tweeter, so this is gonna have a lot of sound coming out of this guy here. I'm pretty excited. And it of course is a 4-ohm speaker. Now the 6x9 also has a grill in the box, which we're not going to be using, so we'll tuck those back away. They do also come with screws if you feel you need them. They have a butyl rubber surround, that's both of them right here, so we won't have to worry about them rotting out. And we have some form of a composite cone. There again, we won't have to worry about water damage or warpage or anything like that. And this guy is 2 7/8 inches deep, and it still has that same 25mm tweeter. So that's the plan, is to go ahead and put 4 speakers in the car, a little bit of sound treatment, and some fast rings. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited, yeah.
I'm excited too. We're easily excited.
Let's do it.
So let's join Fernando as he starts to take off the door panel. He's gonna go ahead and walk you through that process.
First thing we're gonna do is find the screws for the door panel. So sometimes you have to use like a hook. Easy. Pry it out. That's a screw behind there. Grab your hook. In the corner, it's a clip, so just push it in and take it out. Then carefully pry the corner piece. Now all these clips always stay in. Grab your pick tool and try to take it out. And put it back so you don't lose them. Then you're gonna grab your plastic panel tool and in the door switch, try to pry it out carefully so you don't scratch the door. Then make sure you don't have no screws in the bottom. Then from there, pry it out. Pry tool. Now we have the speaker.
Fernando's got the door panel off. Let's take a look at this speaker. Now, as you can see here, this was that foam I was talking about. And this is that strange bracket. Like, it's a 6x9 here. What the heck is this? It's this giant thing. Clips in the top, and it's stuck out of the door considerably. Our speaker might not stick out this far, but we also need this foam. The nice thing about a fast ring, as you can see, the fast ring is kind of thick, and it's made to be cut to length. So this allows us to make up that gap between the spacer we're gonna use and where this foam was at. Now the next step is to just go ahead and get this out.
That's a Ford 10mm.
All right, so let's take a look at the factory speaker compared to our new speaker. As you can see, this is a neo magnet. It's plastic. This whole thing is plastic. Now the problem with that is this neo magnet, they get hot. And what we've seen happen is that these will actually fall off of here and stick to the inside of the door. And then people are like, I don't know what happened. One day I shut my door and it stopped working. Our new speaker, it uses the old school strontium style magnet. Big, beefy, heavy, metal basket, good there. But as you can see the two, and this is what I wanted to point out, it looks like a 6x9. It's shaped like a 6x9, but it sure ain't a 6x9. And now when we look at these from the side, that's that depth we were talking about. Our speaker is probably gonna stick in the door about an inch. Now here's the spacer we're gonna use, and as you can see, we'll compare the two. This spacer is a little bit thinner than this guy here, and that's what those fast rings are gonna help us with. They're gonna make up the difference between this thinness here and this. Now of course the question would be, is there enough depth in the door to take that new speaker? Let's check it out. What we like to do is mock it up a bit. What you want to do first is look in the door and see where the window is. This is the window right here. Our magnet is going to sit right about there. Make sure there's no tint, because you don't want to scratch the tint when if this goes down, you see glass here, roll the window back up. The other thing is too, this gap here, being able to look down through here, you can see the magnet. So while he holds that in place, we'll look down into the door gap. Way over here, you can kind of see it, probably not on the camera, but we have about an inch between the window and the speaker. So we got plenty of room. So now that we know it's gonna fit, we have to prep the area a little bit. What are we gonna do, Fernando?
The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna roll the window up so we don't scratch nothing. We're gonna clean behind it so we can go and do the treatment.
And then one last thing we're gonna do is to the actual plastic piece we're gonna use, we're gonna put foam on the back side of it and foam where the speaker sits in it. So foam and foam. It's like a foam sandwich.
All right, now that we have our sheet that's a 10x12, you're gonna peel it off. Make sure you grab it in the center. Just rub it off.
Hey Fernando.
Yes.
Why aren't you wearing gloves?
Oh man, I like to cut myself. You grab your roller over here and just go around it.
And I do strongly recommend wearing gloves.
Yes. Safety first. Now the second step, you grab your pry tool and just go a little bit around the hole so you can mark where you're gonna cut it. I strongly recommend you to use a new blade so you don't have those ugly cuts. Now the piece that we have left over, we're gonna go and apply it behind. So sometimes the roller doesn't fit inside the door, so that's why you grab one of the panel tools and just go.
So for foam, we get a 1/32 inch foam off of Amazon that works really well. You don't want to go too thick, because when you go too thick, it doesn't compress all that well and will cause the speaker to warp as you're screwing it in. Now if you're interested in finding this foam, we do have it on the D&F tool drawer. That's at dnfttooldrawer.com. You do the back, now we'll go ahead and we'll do the front.
So the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna go and install the speaker bracket. Now we have the speaker adapter done. We're gonna go and roll the window down so we can fit our fast ring. So just roll it down halfway so you can see where you're gonna cut the foam. So now I cut it in 2 pieces so we can put one in the top and the other side in the bottom. Now the second piece for the fast ring.
So just like Fernando said, he's got the fast ring on, he showed you how to do it. Let's take a close-up look at how it looks in the door. So you can see inside here, he's got his sound treatment. He went ahead and split the foam so it's on top and bottom. Now, this is just made to help cancel some of that vibration that's gonna be happening on that back piece of metal. And then this is designed, as we said, focus that energy towards it so that it will absorb it. That's all it's doing. It's just designed to absorb any excess vibration that might be back there. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and solder some wire onto the speaker terminals here along with some shrink wrap. Now lastly, I went ahead and wrapped this up with some exterior Tessa tape. Want to measure about where it's going to come out of that hole. We soldered this on there because the clip, as you saw, was up here in the door, so we needed some length onto this, and we're going to keep our connection up there where the factory one is. So I'm going to go ahead and get this over to Fernando so we can get it in the car.
So the next step, we're going to go and put the speaker. Now what we're gonna go and find out is which one is positive and negative.
To test what's positive and negative, for that we're gonna go old school, just like this install, and we're gonna use a 9-volt. Now what you wanna do is check your 9-volt for positive and negative. Negative is the big side, positive is the small side. Go ahead and strip back the tips of your wire here. Just tap it. In this case, the speaker is moving in. We don't want that, we want it to move out. So we'll flip our battery around. It's popping up, so that means dark green here is gonna be positive. What we like to do is we like to bend down the negatives just like that, so that when we see the plug, we know what's positive. It's kind of a universal thing we do. All right, I'm gonna hand this back to Fernando.
The dark green is positive. Now what we wanna do is put a little bit of heat shrink so we know which one is positive and negative. The last piece of the install, that will be the fast ring. Before we put the door panel back on, we gotta make sure if we need to cut it. So just strip a little bit of the glue, put it on. And then now you're gonna go underneath. Now we're gonna cut it 1 inch. You gotta make sure you put the fast ring on the outside of the speaker and not in the inside, just in case you have to pull the speaker out.
So now that he has the fast ring on, let's go ahead and, like before, take a close-up view of what it looks like all done. And this is what we were talking about, that fast ring. Make sure it's around the outside of the speaker. You don't want to destroy these. But there you go, clean, simple, gonna sound great. Let's go ahead and get the door panel back on and we'll move on to the rear doors. Now, just in case you were wondering why he was doing this, I was doing that door.
For the rear panel, it's almost the same as the front. You grab your angle pick tool, pry it out. But this one in the corner of the outside of the door has those clips. For the rear speaker, we have 3 10mm.
So he's got the back door all off. This is the speaker. There again, it's a 6.5, but it's not really a 6.5, but it has the foam on it. It's plastic. We'll take a closer look in a minute. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna put the Stinger X sound treatment on here, put a piece back there, do what you do.
So we already cleaned our surface. Now we're gonna go and apply our sound treatment. Grab the roller. In some of the cases, you have to cut the edge. It doesn't go outside of the door panel. Now in this part of the door, we have a grommet that we need to leave it open. For the fast ring is the same as the front ones. We're gonna go and cut a little bit.
So just like on the front door, we're gonna go ahead and prep the rear door speakers by soldering on our length of speaker wire. Now when you're soldering wires onto speakers like these, if you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. Because it's not something where you want to camp out and just like keep heat there. Because what'll happen is you'll actually wick the solder up through the tinsel leads, which is bad. If you're not comfortable with the soldering iron, if you haven't done soldering before, definitely don't make your career in soldering starting point here doing this. So we have the factory speaker here. We just took it out of the door. Magic of editing, you're like, how did that appear there? Well, it's here. So let's take a look at what we got. So we have a plastic. There again, this has a neo magnet just like the front one does. But this one, they put this cool plastic cup over it. It's a much better design. You don't have to worry about the magnet falling off. It's still gonna trap in a lot of heat, but there is a little tiny hole right there. So it's vented. Awesome. It's extremely light. Now, one of the reasons why they did go to plastic to make these speakers lighter has to do with the cost of shipping. This is a heck of a lot cheaper to ship than something like this guy here with this big magnet on it. If you ever wondered, that's one of the reasons. Now this is the bracket we are going to be using, and it lines up on the holes. As far as depth goes, they're very similar. Obviously this one is a little bit shallow. We'll go ahead and check the depth just like we did on the front doors. But as you can see, that's why we're using that fast ring, is to make up that last little bit and make it couple with the door. Now we'll go ahead and put some foam on this and get it over to Fernando. Now because this one is built a little bit different, we're gonna use the same 32nd inch foam, but instead of it being a half, this is a quarter thick because the front of this is a little thinner. So the prep work is all done for the speakers. So just like the front door, we've gone ahead and thinned this piece out. We have the focuser put in, as I like to call it. The question is often asked, doesn't that back ring, doesn't that get wet? Doesn't it attract water? I mean, it's made out of open cell foam. Is it gonna be like a sponge? Let's find out. We have a spare piece left over from the 6x9. Take it in the bathroom and find out. We have a way to test this. Now, if you have this much rain coming in your door, you got problems. Alright, so no water.
No water.
Now, I'm not saying it's impossible for hold water. I mean, we live in Florida. It will literally rain from the moment you wake up in the morning to the minute you go to bed at night. All day, it'll rain, all day. Will some water get on there? More than likely, yeah. I mean, sure, why not? At the rate at which I've heard described, no. The benefit far exceeds the amount of water that that's going to absorb. Back to your regularly scheduled speaker installation.
Sure. I'm good.
Now, just like we did in the front, we want to test these rear speakers for polarity. Just because they use the same plugs doesn't mean that they're the same. Never assume that. In this case, the blue wire is going to be positive, which if we did assume, we would have been right because the 6x9 in the front and this use the same positive. Just test them.
All right, so the final piece that will be the fast ring. This one we don't have to cut it off because this one go all the way back, and that will be the final.
Now while Fernando's finishing up his photo shoot there for his awesome Instagram post he's gonna do on this, we're going to take a look. Now, like he was saying, on the rear speaker, because of the way that bracket was designed, there was almost no lip. There was just screw provision. So our fast ring literally just slid over to it, just like this, and is actually sticking to the door. So as you can see, it's just giving us that nice inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch overlap, which is all we needed to make it the same as the factory. So now we're all done with this. I've been cloning along on that side, so we're all done over there. We're gonna go ahead and finish getting these door panels put back on so we can get to the best part.
Listen to it.
That's right. All right, so just like at the end of any time you put speakers in, if you're not polarity testing them, you could be doing something wrong. You hear the tick tick? All right, we got red, red, green. This is the first one we're testing. We got red, red, green. That's 2 out of the 4. That's 3 out of the 4.
And that's 4 out of the 4.
We did a good job. Yay us. Go team go. So now that we know that all the speakers are moving in the right direction, it's time to sit in the car, relax, kick it back a bit, listen to some Maroon 5. Cause hey, why not, right? Oh crap, wow. So right off the bat, we listened to a few songs. Wow, totally better than the factory. There's no question about it. That wasn't even like, oh, hey, are they? Yes, of course they're gonna be better than the factory. These are brand new speakers. This is the brand new line. So this is the first we're actually getting to hear him. And the fact that we're hearing them off of deck power is actually kind of exciting because if they sound good off of deck power, they're gonna sound amazing once you put some real power to them. Now I will say this, you can hear the radio die out.
Yeah.
You know, it gets about 3/4 of the way up and it's sounding good and you go like 1 notch and it's like, man, they're done. They have a good bass response for an aftermarket speaker in this situation. A lot of the times you lose that. There is no punch to it because the speakers are designed to not have it because they want you to add a subwoofer. These actually have pretty good bass response, which in past dealings with Phoenix Gold has been the case. We like to use them in a lot of applications where we are doing a factory replacement because they do retain a lot of the sound that you're accustomed to from the factory speaker.
Correct.
So like those SC430s that have the 6x9s in the doors. Just saying.
Right there.
What are your thoughts?
It's good.
There you go. From Fernando. They're good. All right, go buy them.
Yeah, just go buy them right now.
Go buy them right now. We hope you guys enjoyed this little, I'd like to say old school install like I was saying, but it's old school install with a new school twist. We added in the fast rings, a little sound treatment. I feel it made all the difference.
Oh, yes.
So even if you're gonna do something simple like just replace your 4 speakers, by adding in that little extra, it's gonna help them. Definitely gonna help them. All right, so with that being said, Fernando.
All right, guys, on to the next one.
See ya.